Namaste and welcome to this session wherein I'm going to talk about the 6th to 12th houses. Let me share the screen to go further from here. Okay, from 6th house we see the job prospects. If the 6th cuspal sublord signifies 2, 6, 10, 11, then yes, one would get a job. Or getting a bank draft or areas from office or getting a loan or return of the money from the borrowers, then the 6th cuspal sublord should signify 2, 6, 11. However, if it signifies 5 and 8, then you will not be getting any of these financial gains. Now, whom do you borrow from? If the 6th cuspal sublord is son, then it would be either government or father. If it is moon, then mother, and it would be lent to you quite quickly. The processing would be rather quite quick. If it is Mars, then there would be tension or hostility. If it is Mercury, then you will have to correspond, or it will be either in the installments. If it is Jupiter, then it will be given to you honorably and through lawful means. If it is Venus, then it would be given in a friendly and a peaceful manner. If it is Saturn, then certainly there would be delay, obstacles, and it would be a part payment. If Saturn aspects the 6th cuspal sublord, even though the 6th cuspal sublord is Jupiter, only a part amount or the amount would be given to you in installments. Now, Saturn is the planet of constriction, and this is how it is going to implement itself if the Saturn is aspecting the 6th cuspal sublord. Now, who would be the lender to you? If the 6th cuspal sublord signifies 3 and 6, then it would be mother. If it is 2 and 6, then it would be a younger sibling. If it is 10 and 6, then the elder brother, or could be friends too. If it is 8 and 6, then father. If it is 6, then partner, including your wife. Now, if you notice, these are the houses which are the houses of expenditure, the 12th house of these relationships. Now, mother is represented by the 4th house. So 3 is 12 to 4. Brother, younger brother, that is represented by the 3rd house. So 2nd is the 12th house of 3rd. Likewise, 10 to 11, 8 to 9, and 6 to 7. So basically, it is a loss to these relationships by which you are gaining. Okay. Now, for the repayment of loan, it is the 12th cuspal sublord. It should be direct and should be in the star lord, which is also direct. Then you would be able to repay the loan. For recovery of the entangled or lent money, if the 6th cuspal sublord is direct and is in the star lord, which is also direct, then you would get the money back. However, if Saturn aspects the 6th cuspal sublord, even though it may be Jupiter, only a part amount or the amount would be received in installments. The basic nature of Saturn certainly shows up in these regards. Now, if you have to find out whether one will be getting a new tenant or when will the tenant vacate the property occupied by him, then if the 6th cuspal sublord signifies 694, then certainly you will get a new tenant. And when you would be getting a new tenant, that would be during the conjoined periods of 6, 9, and 4 houses. For vacation, the period would be governed by the 6th and 8th house. Now, if you notice here, 8 is the 3rd house from the 6th house. Now, 6th house is the house of the tenant. Now, the 3rd house, that is moving out from the property that he is in. The 4th house from the 6th would be 9, that is for occupation. And for vacation, we are seeing the 3rd house from the 6th. This is how we see the various significations in Krishnamurti Padhati. Now, this is how I have clarified here that these are 1, 4, and 11 houses from the 6th house, that is the tenant. Then only he will be moving into a new house that is owned by you as a tenant. Okay. Now for disease and cure, if the 6th cuspal sublord signifies 511, then there would be cure. If it signifies 812, then you require the medical care or the hospitalization. If the 6th cuspal sublord signifies 1, 6, then there would be disease. This is also seen from the 1st cuspal sublord. If the 1st cuspal sublord signifies 1, 6, then one will have a disease. When? During the conjoint periods of 1 and 6 houses. If the 6th cuspal sublord signifies in addition 8, then one would require the medical checkup. If in addition to 168 it signifies 12, then one would be hospitalized. For discharge from the hospital, if the 12th cuspal sublord signifies 1 and 11, it is and over here, kindly note this, then one would be discharged in good health. However, if the 12th cuspal sublord is in a watery sign, or the 12th house itself is in a watery sign, then one will not be discharged from the hospital alive. One would die during this period of sickness while admitted in the hospital. For recovery of the lost property, if the 7th cuspal sublord signifies 611, then the item will be recovered. For separation from a business or a life partner, if the 7th cuspal sublord signifies 6, then there is a separation. For starting a business, if it signifies 1 to 11, then start the business in your own name. However, if the 7th cuspal sublord signifies 5, 8, then you start the business in your wife's name. For marriage, if the 7th cuspal sublord signifies 2, 7, 11, the marriage would take place. When? During the conjoint periods of 2, 7, and 11. Okay. If, however, the 11th cuspal sublord signifies 6, 10, then there would be separation or divorce. 11th is the house of felicity of marriage. So, if the separation or divorce is to be seen, then the 11th cuspal sublord should signify 6, 10. For denial of marriage, the 7th cuspal sublord should signify 4, 6, 10. For second marriage in Krishnamurti Padhati, we see the 7th house itself. Unlike in certain methods where second house, that is 8 from the 7th, is taken for second marriage. Here in Krishnamurti Padhati, if the 7th cuspal sublord signifies 2, 11, as also 7th cuspal sublord shows duality, then the second marriage would be there. The duality in the form that the 7th cuspal sublord is posited in a dual sign, or the star of the 7th cuspal sublord is a dual planet, or the 7th cuspal sublord is owning a dual sign, or the 7th cuspal sublord is Mercury itself. Then there would be second marriage. For marriage within the known family, if the 7th cuspal sublord signifies 2, 5, 11, then yes, the marriage is within the known family. However, if the 7th cuspal sublord is Saturn, then it would be an intercaste marriage. If it is Rahu, then it would be a subcaste. If the 7th cuspal sublord signifies 5, the bride and groom know each other. 4, the life partner is from a nearby place. 3, then either he is a co-tenant or cousin or an email friend, or through media advertisements, one has come to know each other. If it is 11, then friends or distant relatives. If it is 9, then a stranger would be married. The age of spouse is also seen from the 7th cuspal sublord. If it is Moon, Mars, Mercury, then the age difference is of about 2 to 4 years. If it is Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, then the age difference is between 4 to 6 years. And if it is Saturn, then it would be between 11 and 13 years. Now, this is very, very specific to the Indian conditions and may vary from community to community in various other countries. For reunion of the husband and wife, if the 11th cuspal sublord, that is the house of felicity of marriage, signifies 7, then yes, they would unite. However, if it signifies 6, 12, then the relations will remain estranged. There would be separation. For opening a partnership firm, if the 7th cuspal sublord signifies 2, 11, then yes, one can go in for the partnership. However, the break in the partnership is to be seen if the 7th cuspal sublord signifies 6 or 10. If it shows 5, 8, 12, then one should open a partnership firm in the wife's name. Now, the significations of the 8th house. For any accident, if the 8th cuspal sublord shows or signifies 1 and 8, the accident would take place. We also see the inheritance or the ancestral property from the 8th house. If it signifies 1, 2, 8, 11, then yes, one will inherit ancestral property. And the kind of property is to be seen by these significations. If it is 4, in addition to these, then of course it's landed property. If it is 7, then it is a business which one would be inheriting. And if it is 2, then one would be inheriting cash. For the court cases, if the 8th cuspal sublord signifies 2, 6, 11, one is going to win the case. However, if it signifies 5, 8, 12, then the opponent is going to win the case. For any insurance or sudden gains, if the 8th cuspal sublord signifies 2, 6, 11, one will get the gains. For suicide, for murder, and if one has to find out, will someone kill me? Then we see the significations as the 8th cuspal sublord, if it signifies 8 and Badaka and Maraka, one would commit suicide. If the first cuspal sublord signifies 2 and 2 is the 8th house from 7, that is the house of death from the 7th house, and the Badaka and Maraka with respect to the 7th house, then that person will be murdered by the native who is asking this prashna. Will someone kill me is to be seen from the 7th cuspal sublord. If it signifies 1 and Badaka and Maraka for the person who is asking the query, then yes, the person concerned with the 7th house will kill him. From 9th house, we see the long journey, higher studies, break in long journey and education, loss in job, change of job, religious tour, run an institute or a college. If the 9th cuspal sublord signifies 3, 9, 11, then yes, there would be a long journey. For higher studies, 4, 9, 11, yes, and if it's 3 also, then one will go in for higher studies online, which is quite common nowadays. For break in the long journey, if the 9th cuspal sublord signifies 8, then there would be a break in the long journey or in education. For the loss of job, now if the 9th cuspal sublord signifies 3, 5, 9, then there would be a loss of job. However, if it also shows 2, 6, 10, 11 in addition to 3, 5, 9, then one would be changing the job. Okay, for a religious tour, the 3, 9, 11 get connected further with 5th house, and whether one would be running an institute or a college, that is an educational institute, then the 9th cuspal sublord will signify 4, 11, 6, 2. Now from the 10th house, the profession is seen. Whether one will be a politician or doctor, engineer, CA or a lawyer, for a prashna which is specific to any of these. If the 10th cuspal sublord signifies 2, 6, 10, 11, then yes, one would become a politician or a doctor or an engineer or a CA or a lawyer as per the prashna asked. Okay. If the 10th cuspal sublord signifies 4, then whatever business or the job that he is having would be in a small scale. These are very, very finer points. Okay. Now, if it signifies 10, then it would be in a big scale. And if it signifies Mercury 2, then one will have multiple branches. For an astrologer, the connection of the 10th cusp should be there with Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn. For prosecution by the IT department, if the 10th cuspal sublord signifies 7, 8, 12, then yes. For the CBI action during the conjoint period of 10th and the 12th houses, and for the suspension, the conjoint period of 5, 9, and 12 houses. Okay. Now, the kind of profession that one would be taking would be is seen from the 10th cusp. Now, if the 10th cuspal sublord is Sun, then one would be going in for electrical or electronic engineering. If it is Moon, then one would be going for psychiatry. If it is Mars, then one would be going in for civil, auto, mechanical engineering, or one would join any of the uniformed services in the police or army. If it is Mercury, then one would go in for the IT or communication engineering or architecture or for chartered accountant. If it is Jupiter, then one would go in for law, journalism. And if it also gets connected with Saturn, then one would be a criminal lawyer. However, if it is Mars, then one would be a civil lawyer. If it is Venus, then one will go in for computer or chemical engineering. If it is Saturn, then one will go in for mechanical or sanitary engineering. For a very common question in the Indian context, whether the child will be taking up a medical profession is again to be seen from the 10th cuspal sublord. If the 10th cusp is in the star of Sun and the cuspal sublord happens to be Sun, then one will be an MBBS doctor. If it is Moon, then one will go in for ophthalmology. If it is Mars, one would be a surgeon. If it is Mercury, neurosurgeon, or one will go in for laparoscopy or homeopathic medicine. If it is Jupiter, then general physician or a dental doctor. If it is Venus, gynecologist. If it is Saturn, then plastic surgeon or orthopedic surgeon. If it is Rahu, then one would be a Siddha doctor. And if it is Ketu, one will go in for Ayurvedic medicine. So this is how one sees the prospects and the answers to one of the most common questions in the Indian context. For a success in the spiritual life, now one sees the 11th cuspal sublord. If it signifies 5 and 10, then yes, one would have the success in the spiritual life. However, for becoming a sannyasi, the first cuspal sublord, if it signifies 3, 10, 12, and is connected with Saturn, then one will become a sannyasi. And for mantra siddhi, it is seen from the 5th cuspal sublord. If it signifies 5, 11, then one will have the mantra siddhi. These kind of questions are very rare nowadays. For a divorce or break-in in any relationship, if the 11th cuspal sublord signifies 6 or 10, then yes, there will be a divorce or break-in relationship. As I have told you previously, that 11th house is the house of felicity, of marriage, or any relationship. So any break in that is to be seen from the 11th house, and the 11th cuspal sublord will signify it. Now coming over to the significations of the 12th house, for investments, if it signifies 1, then yes. For discharge from a hospital, the 12th cuspal sublord should signify 1 and 11. If it shows or signifies 8, then there would be loss. One will go in for higher studies, that is research, or for a doctorate, if the 12th cuspal sublord signifies 1, 11, and is connected to Saturn. For an overseas travel, the 12th cuspal sublord should signify 3, 9, 12. For settlement, of course, there will be an additional connection to the 4th house. If the connection with the 4th house is not there, then one would travel and return back from abroad. For getting the passport, for any kind of query which wants to seek an answer, will I get my passport? Then the 12th cuspal sublord should signify 3, 9, 11. For the sale of goods, 6 and 11. For imprisonment, if the 12th cuspal sublord is Rahu and it is in a star which is direct and it signifies 2, 3, 8 or 12, then one will get imprisoned. Now, all these three conditions have to occur simultaneously. That is, the 12th cuspal sublord is Rahu and it is in a star which is direct. In the present context, if Rahu, though of course it is in the star of Sun now, if it were to be in the sun of Jupiter or Mars or Saturn, which are not direct at the moment, then one will not be imprisoned. For prosecution by the IT department, the 10th cuspal sublord must signify 7, 8, 12. With this, I come to the end of this presentation. Thank you and wish you all the very best.